Hi there, everybody. How are you today? I'm just looking to see some of the comments that are already coming in. Welcome to Donna, Yo Sparrow Grove, Sue, Nancy, Irene, Laurie, Gina, Kim, Susan. Many of you are here today, as are we. I am thrilled to be back. I'm sorry what we missed last week. So some of you may already know I am an elementary teacher, and we had work last week. We started professional development days. Our first day with kids was today. Yay. I'm exhausted, but very excited to be there. And we didn't have childcare for our son last week. So my husband was trying to juggle watching him and getting his work done. And then he wasn't feeling well and it just didn't work out. So I'm sorry for the last minute cancellation on you guys last week, but I hope you've had a great 2 weeks since I last saw all of you. If you're new here, my name is Jen Raza. I'm one of the co-founders of Altenew. I do a lot of the product design and then some other tasks, including this lovely live that we have. And every week, the goal is to push ourselves a little bit outside of our crafty comfort zone, do something that maybe you wouldn't typically do, and inspire each other to do the same. Tracy's asking, how was the first day of school? So like I said, it was exhausting. It was so good, but I am very tired. I took last year off for maternity leave, so it's been a long time since I taught, and it's very physically demanding. So right now I'm just feeling like pain all over my body. And I know it'll take me probably a week to get accustomed to that. But I was so excited to see the kids. They were excited to see me, and it was just a fun time all around. So I think after this live, I'm going to see if I can maybe just lay down, even if I don't nap. Just sometimes laying down is good enough. So that's the plan for today. Kim's asking what grade I teach. I'm an elementary music teacher, so I teach everybody in the school. So I have kindergarten up through 5th grade. And there's something fun and something challenging, at least, about every grade level. If I could say my favorite, maybe tie between 2nd and 3rd grade. I really love 2nd and 3rd. So we have a lot going on today for our live, a lot of excitement. We have a winner to announce. I also need to remind you that there are opportunities to win today. So there are a few ways to do that. Number one, you can just share our live stream while we're live. So I'll be on until about 5 o'clock. And if you share in that time, then you are automatically entered. Also, thank you to everybody who came with the new time change. Again, because of school, I'm not able to make the 3 o'clock time anymore. So I appreciate you guys making time at this 4 o'clock hour. And maybe there are some of you here that weren't able to join at 3 in the past, and now it works with your schedule. So we'll be here every week at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Donna is saying, do you teach band and choir? I used to teach strings, so general music, chorus, and strings like orchestra, but they just took the strings out of my schedule and gave me more general music, and I'm sad to not have my string students anymore. I'm a viola player. That's what I went to college for. I majored in viola performance, and then I ended up switching to music education, but my passion is still with strings. So I'm a little sad they took that off, but I really love teaching general music and chorus too. And I see that Donna has shared the link. Thank you so much for doing that. And let's see, I'm sure I missed others who already said that they shared, but please make sure that you tell us that you shared so that we know and we can enter you into that $15 gift certificate. After I sign off, that person will be randomly selected, and then you just need to contact us to claim your prize. Another way to win is if you play along, and you do not have to have a finished project. You can just share what you're working on as long as your work in progress satisfies the prompt. And last time, I have to think back, we had opposites attract. And I used my least favorite color combo because I'm not really a fan of orange, but we made it work with some orange and blue. And I really like how it's an unexpected twist on a typical like hanging plant scene. So I really love how that came out, and I love checking out all your projects too. So let's get to the winner, and I just need to take a moment to share my screen. Where'd it go? Oh, we're gonna get the infinity again, I think. Sometimes it says I can share just one like tab. Other times it's making me share the whole screen. Sorry for the infinite look here. I know that'll disappear in a second. Okay. So here we go. Congratulations to our challenge winner. This is Lynn. Let me look at the name though. Lynn Wallen Smith. And again, unexpected. I like how the leaves are yellow and she chose to make the purple flowers. I feel like this was a very common color combo. A lot of you ended up doing the purples and yellows. And I like that the embellishments also fit the theme in the background, and it looks really nice. So those opposites do attract, they don't clash with one another. And I love how a lot of you were able to challenge yourselves to make that color palette work, especially if it's one you weren't typically used to using. So congratulations once again, a really beautiful project. Those of you who are also new here, you don't have to make a card. A lot of us make cards. I make cards. That's my comfort zone. Maybe one day I'll branch out and do something else. Or the challenge can be like, do a type of project you don't usually do, because I'm making cards all the time. And I know a lot of you are card makers, but please feel free. We've had tags, we've had art pieces, canvas, we've had bookmarks that people have created. I don't know, maybe scrapbook layouts, maybe like a few, but not many. So please feel free to share those projects too. All right, so today we are doing the Copycat Challenge. And the Copycat Challenge is all about revisiting an older project that you've created. Now, if you're a newer paper crafter, this might be easy. This might be a project you made like yesterday. Maybe that was your first project you ever made, and today you're on day 2. So if that's the case, just let us know. But for everyone else, I would say it's more fun if you take something that's older. It doesn't have to be like your oldest project. It doesn't have to even be a year ago, but you don't want to take the last project you made and then redo that one. We want to kind of see some kind of change in the first and last project. And when you share these, please share both. So you can tell me a little bit about maybe why you selected that project, or if there is something that you always wished that you did on that project that you didn't like how it came out and you wanted to do better, or if there is something that spoke to you on the original project that just really inspired you and you wanted to use that. You don't have to recreate it. If you want to like recreate the layout, that's fine. If you want to use the same supplies and use them in a different way, if you want to use the color palette, take something, but not everything, if that makes sense. We're using it as inspiration. Gina says, I'm not a copycat person. June says, copycat is the only way I can make a card. Okay, so now you're going to be copycatting yourself. So we've all been there, I'm sure. I do that all the time. I find a project I like and I make my spin or interpretation of it. But for this, I want you to take one of your projects. This is copying yourself. The self-copycat challenge. So there's a lot of ways that you can interpret this. They're all good to me. Like I said, just make sure that you explain or at least show both projects so that we can see how they go with one another, if that makes sense. Donna says it could be fun or difficult. Yes, that's fun though, right? Even if it's difficult, it's fun because you overcome something, right? When you do that. Now, when you play along, I hope you all do. You have this week to play along, and then next week we'll be back and there'll be a new challenge and we'll announce the winner. Just make sure if you play along, you use our hashtag Altenew Challenge Live. That way I could find your project and everybody else can find your project. You could just search the hashtag online and find everybody who's participated, and that way you can see what they did. I love when we all get to share and inspire one another. Rebecca, that's great. Got to find my cringiest and have a glow up. Now, I actually took 2 card options. I think I know which one I'm going to do. But I was looking into, the old boxes of cards that I have, and I thought it'd be fun to take a card that I did before Altenew that I didn't have Altenew products for before the company existed. So I know these are at least 11 years old since Altenew has been around for 11 years, and then try to recreate them in Altenew products. So that's one way you could do it too. Like I said, there's a lot of ways to interpret this. You just want to take some sort of inspiration from that original project and implement it into your new project. So these are the two I grabbed. This one, I remember gluing down all of that glitter. So I thought maybe since I have all of these fantastic Altenew glitter papers that I could use glitter paper. We also have a lot of glitter washi, these glitter washi tapes. There's a lot of ways that you can use glitter without actually having to get the glue out and sprinkle the glitter. So I thought that might be fun. I liked the negative cutout. I don't remember which brand this is. Shout it out if you do. This has got to be old. But yeah, this was one of my projects. And then this is the one I think we're going to do because I have an actual label maker label on here with, you know, you have the spinny plastic top thing and you crank it to the letter or number that you want. You squeeze the handle really, really tight and it punches into the adhesive plastic strip. So I did. I'm sure you guys are like, I know what a label maker is, but I didn't want anyone to think I meant like the printed out label maker type. This is the like crank and punch label maker. But we do have stamps. Where did I put them? I did grab this ahead of time. We do have our Label Love set. Old. This is going way back. And I thought that would be a good way to use an Altenew product here. We've got a nice large sentiment die. We have some splatter. I thought this is a really cute card. And again, I'm trying to think of where this hello is from. Is it Simon Says Stamp maybe? Oh, yeah, Nancy, the Dymo label maker. Yeah, Kim. Yep, you guys, you knew what I was talking about. Donna says, I don't have any cards around that are that. I don't know if you're responding to someone else or to me. If you don't, like, if you don't have the original project, like, do you have a photo of it? If you don't have the, I know like a lot of you give away your cards, as you should. Am I the only one that sits on like boxes and boxes of cards? I do send a lot out, but I also don't send a lot out. Oh my gosh. All right. Does anyone know what this set is? I don't know. This is definitely patterned paper in the background. So I thought for the die, I'll top you down so you guys can see this better. But I was thinking of different products. Hero Arts, Kim, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's a Hero Arts greeting. Again, it's at least 11 years old because I think once we started Altenew, I always incorporated some Altenew product on my cards. So like I still use my companies that I love using their products, but I find that Altenew really like makes an appearance now on every project. So the fact that these have no Altenew, I know they're old. So we may have to think back to older companies when trying to identify some of those products I used. Oopsies, did not mean to turn you off. I just want to jump to here. Okay, so this one I'll put away. Maybe it will inspire a project on another day. And then here's what we're going with. So I grabbed some paper that I thought would work well here. This is our Pastel Sunrise. It's a very, very similar, like muted pink tone. I also put it on this, I don't know, it's not craft. Maybe like I know it's looking a little craft on the camera, but it's kind of like a tannish beige something or other color. So when I do finish this project, I'll probably mount it on something similar. But I don't have a lot more thoughts behind this project. I did see this row of colorful dots, and my first thought was enamel dots. You guys know I'm on this mission to use a lot of my enamel dots because I have so many of them. So maybe we can do some enamel dots on there in this little banner. So this is what the inspiration is, and I'm excited to get started. So let's just get the cardstock cut first. And this is one of our Crafty Necessities cardstock. It's really a great color. I don't really go for a muted pink. I like more of like the deep pinks or more saturated, I guess. But this actually acts as like a neutral, I think. You know, when you're thinking about the neutral colors, I feel like white, black, grays, that's where everyone goes, even like a craft color. But you can use pink as a neutral. I really like that. So already I am getting out of my comfort zone. Apparently, many years ago, I was more comfortable with using a non-white background. Okay, so let's just cut a little A2 panel here. I can absolutely trim it down later so that if I wanted to mount it with that little border around, I could do that. Remember, I do not have to recreate this card. I am choosing to take all these elements and recreate them in Altenew products, but you don't have to do that. You can find other ways to get inspiration. Joy has cards from 1996. Joy, please, 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 please share one of your cards from 1996 and do your new version of that. I would absolutely love to see that. All right, so the die is the Mega Hello die that we have. This was paired with the Mega Greeting stamp set. I'm not sure if the stamp set is still available, but I did check the website and we do still have the Mega Hello die. Now, I don't believe I can do this on the Mini Blossom. No, so the Mini Blossom plate is 3 by 6 inches, and this is definitely wider. This is a nice large die that makes a big statement. So you can see already where we're headed here. For anybody who is just tuning in, we are doing a new challenge this week, and this is our Copycat challenge, and I am recreating this old card. All right, so let me just put some of our satin masking tape to tack this down, and I will need to go off screen because my larger die cut machine is behind me. Joy says she will. Yes, thank you, Joy. Excited about that. Okay, let's just do this, and I will go and get my die cutting ready. So for my larger die cut machine, I usually use the Gemini Junior because I don't have to crank the handle. Love that. Love that. Okay. So give me a second and I will return shortly with my die cut. Not sure if you can still hear me or if you can hear the machine. Susan is saying, question, does it need to include all Altenew products? No, you don't have to include any Altenew products. For all of my challenges here, you don't need to use any Altenew products at all. Do I love to see Altenew products? Yes, of course I do. It is not a requirement. I didn't want people who are not Altenew customers or Altenew customers yet, or maybe you don't. I'm assuming you're all here because you love Altenew, but maybe there's nothing that we release that really is something that's in your style. That's fine. You can still play along with the challenges. So if you have Altenew products, have at it. But if not, please use whatever you have. And this is just, I feel like this is a timeless die here. This is such a good one. I love, love, love when the greeting is the focal point on a project, just because it's like that cool typography. You know, if you see a lot of fancy cards in, like, I don't know, card stores and boutiques, the ones with the typography I think are all really cool. Okay, so we have our hello. Now let's look at what else we need. We have some hearts in the background. It's a little hard to see because it's white on this pink, and they are right side up and upside down hearts. So I'm going to do that with this heart right here. I actually still had the vintage vibes out from when we used it like a month ago. This is how much of a disarray my craft room, the state of my craft room is just still a mess. I am still trying to work on reorganizing everything. And as I'm using products, they are ending up in a box to my left because they haven't been organized and filed yet. So this was still in that box. But look, there's a heart. So that's perfect. Okay, so we're going to pull this out, and I want to use the Cloud White pigment ink. Now, this is a light ink, as most white ink is, and it's not going to make a really like sharp contrast on the background, but I don't want a sharp contrast on the background. Look, it's very faint. So that's what I'm looking for, is very faint. If I wanted to be more of a like pure white, like my hello greeting, then what I would do is heat emboss with some white embossing powder. But I want to have more of that faint look. So we'll do this Cloud White ink. And let me just grab out my stamp wheel. With the white ink, sometimes it's helpful to double stamp. White ink is so tricky. I have to tell you guys, Tasneem and I did so much testing of white ink to find a white ink that we really, really loved. And we really, 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 truly love this white ink. And I don't think there exists any white ink that you stamp it and you get like that perfect pure white. I wish there was, but I just don't think it's possible due to the properties of even a white pigment ink, which this is a pigment ink. So maybe one day someone will invent a white ink that's just pure white right off the bat. Okay, so let's, oh my gosh. Kalina or Selena says it sounds like my craft room. I'm glad I'm not alone, not just me. Now, I think I want to start pretty much in the center. I'm not worried about the exact center. And I'm putting it up a little bit because I want there to be space for the upside down heart right next to it. I'm sorry, like next and underneath it. So it's like the top row here of right side up hearts, and then the upside down hearts will be right beneath that. So we'll start approximately in the middle. And then pick that up with the flip plate, and we can start stamping. Now, I was also thinking, not sure, I was thinking of doing like a really light inking because these hearts are open. You can't really see it. Almost looks like mesh, but I think I do want more full coverage. But I did contemplate just like pouncing once or twice and getting a super light impression. But I think having the better coverage will look a little bit better. Okay, so you guys can see that here. It's very light. Okay, it's actually probably showing up a little bit better on screen than it is here in my craft room. But I think it's a pretty good match for the amount of white that we have in the inspiration card. Okay, so I'm just going to scoot this over. Alana says, I'm struggling with my stamp wheel. Suggestions on putting it down straight. Do you mean your cardstock? Because if you mean your cardstock, we have these alignment guides, which are essentially like L-shaped stencils. And if you place it in and you nestle it into that stencil corner, it's going to be perfectly centered in your stamp wheel, and it's going to be aligned perfectly straight. So like up and down and side to side. If you mean putting your stamps on, then you would want to use the flip plate, not the radial flip plate like this one. This is the one that comes with the stamp wheel, but you would want to use the grid flip plate. Mine's in another area of my craft room right now, but it looks just like this grid sticky mat, and that'll help you line things straight. Okay, let's go to the next one. And yes, I am just eyeballing this. Not looking for perfection. This is just a little background motif. Okay, so just popping on that ink. Again, getting some good coverage. Now, if you wanted to double stamp this, you can, just to let the color show up a little bit more, that white color, but I think it looks right to me, this amount. So, and the reason, you guys, I'm wiping this off in between every time is I don't want to move my stamp and then get the white ink all over my fingers, because I know the second that happens, I'm going to have fingerprints all over my project. So scooting this down a little bit more. And then we'll do the flip side, the upside down. That looks right. I love it. Sue, eyeballing. Yes, eyeballing is the way to do it. There are times that I am more precise, especially geometric, or if I'm stamping a repeated motif that would be over the whole background of my project, and if it was the focal point. But for something like this, where it is not the focal point, eyeballing, that's the way to do it. See, even that one, I can see it's kind of going uphill. That's fine. We'll just change course. We'll correct it on the next one. Okay. Let's now go to the one on the far left, hanging over the edge a little bit, making sure I'm bringing it back down. Yeah, that looks good. All right, now after we do all this stamping, I've got to think about the splatter in the background. So I could definitely use our ink sprays. We do have some great Altenew ink sprays that would work for that. But I'm also considering maybe just using some dark gray ink, like a pure graphite. And then you just use some water and you can spritz it, because our dye inks are all water-based. And because of that, you can use them to paint. So that's another option too. Don't worry about that. We'll clean it off later. Let me put the inspiration card here for a second so you can see how we're going. It looks to be going well. And we'll just scoot over the heart one more position on this side, and then we'll do all the upside down ones. I hope this isn't too boring, you guys, watching me stamp the same image so many times. But that's when we get to chat. So what do you guys want to chat about? Is anyone watching any great, any great shows on streaming services? So I've got Hulu, I've got Apple, I've got Netflix. Actually, I think I've got probably most of the streaming services. Amazon. Let me know what you've been watching that you are really loving, because I think I need a new show to watch. Okay, first row done. Xiomara, thank you for sharing it, for sharing our live. I'm trying to think what the last show that I watched was. I don't even know. I feel like with a young toddler, I don't have a lot of time to watch TV. That's why I want something really, really good. When I have limited time to watch shows, it's got to be worth it. Oh, hi, Beth Ann. Welcome. Okay. So cute. By the way, I did like the perfect height for that first row of hearts, because the second row is like just fitting. I didn't care if it like went over the edge, but in the inspiration card, there is just that little teensy bit of space at the bottom. So it worked out. It worked out so well. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3 more to go. And pop that here. Now, whenever you're using pigment ink, you will definitely want to give it some time to dry. If not, you can use a heat gun to heat set it, but you don't want to start rubbing around on it because it is not yet set. So it does take a while to dry because of the properties of the pigment ink. So if you remember before, I was talking about the properties of the water-based ink, so our fresh ink or our crisp dye ink. For the pigment ink, you want to give it some dry time. So I'll be setting this card aside, and then we'll get to work on these other elements. Alana is rewatching Scandal on Netflix. I never saw Scandal. Oh, I know the last thing I watched. I was watching The Pit. I forgot what that was on. If that was maybe HBO, I think. That was the last like current show that I watched. I also started rewatching Friends as my nighttime bed show. I feel like we maybe talked about that last time. It's still my go to sleep comfort show. That or Seinfeld. Those are my go to sleep shows. Since I've seen those episodes so many times, you don't feel like you've got to keep your eyes open. Beth says the AMED. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look that up. The AMED. The Americas, narrated by Tom Hanks. Oh, that sounds good. On Peacock. Okay, we're coming around to our final heart. Thank you, Jennifer, for sharing. You are automatically now entered to win a $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store. I have glitter like all over from that glitter card. Sue says, I love watching old shows like Gunsmoke or Lawman. Emotional support shows is what Jana or Yana says. Watch to fall asleep. Yes, they are emotional support shows. Ooh, the Americas. Okay, maybe I'll check out the Americas. You seem to think that that's a good one. It seems like a lot of you like that. A show that I've rewatched, I think 3 times now, is Breaking Bad. I'll probably watch it again sometime. It's so good. Tiffany says Seinfeld is the falling asleep show too. Oh, and Severance. Severance is so good. You'll like the second season, Tiffany. It's like, I'm not going to talk about it. It's going to give away too much. Plus, if you don't know what Severance is, you're going to have no idea what I'm talking about because it's such a weird show. Outlander. Oh, these are such great suggestions. I haven't watched any of these shows. Okay, so we are done here. Let me just pop this out. I want to wipe down these last 2 little hearts. And we'll set this aside to dry, but we are doing so great so far, right? And our die cut is done as well. So now you could see where this is headed. This is like a fresh interpretation. Oh, funny. This is looking so peachy now. It is more pink. Definitely peachier than the original, but it's not completely peachy. It has more pink tone to it. Cece says the Seinfeld and The Office are on repeat all the time. Yeah, The Office is pretty great too. I also like rewatching Parks and Rec. That's another comfort show or emotional support show. I love that phrase. That's great. All right, now let's get a piece of white cardstock. Can I get away with using this scrap? Let's find out. And I have to get out my wonderful Label Love. This was released our first, I think it was the first release, either the first or the second. This goes way back to 2014. So we can have hello, love you. Hello, thank you doesn't make too much sense. Hello, celebrate. That's weird. Hello, hello. No thanks. Missing you. That would work. Hi. Nah, I won't want hello, hi. Congrats. Cool. Amazing. Maybe how are you? You are awesome. You inspire me. Thanks a bunch. All right. I actually think I'm going to do how are you just because it is similar in length to the actual label that I made with Friend. It's very similar. So we'll do hello, how are you? More Outlander. Okay. Okay, let's do that. How are you? And I think it should fit. Excellent. Okay, so for this, I am definitely going to be using the amazing Obsidian Pigment ink. That's going to be great for this. Partly because it's so dark, right? You really want dark to convey that like dark label, but also because these stamps have a very fine text. So you don't want an ink that's going to like spread around and make it hard to read the greeting. So this should be good. I'm not even worried about lining it up. Although, you guys, we could make 2 cards here. Look at this opportunity that's just been presented. I think I threw out the inner pieces, but I wasn't going to do this straight. I was going to show you, you could do it sideways and just slice it off. Should I take a different piece of paper and save this for another project? What do you think? No, I definitely threw out those inner pieces. All right, we'll use this scrap, but there was a brief moment there, you guys, where I was thinking maybe I should make another card with this. I should have saved those fallout pieces. Coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Okay. So I'm looking at our time. I think I'm definitely going to finish this today. Love that. And stamping this, and now you can see how great was that obsidian ink. Ooh, so nice. So dark, so crisp, makes the label look perfect. Let me show you if I used a different ink. All of our ink is great, but I'll show you if I use a different color, maybe. Like it just would be a little bit harder to read. So let's say I went with like crystal violet. Let's do that over here. You could see that this is an old set because it's yellowed. FYI, yellowed photopolymer does not affect how it works. It is still perfect to use. The yellow is just a sign of age. Okay, so here is that crystal violet, beautiful color. It just doesn't have the same punch. You know, like this is just so saturated, so dark, easy to read, boom. So I think the obsidian was definitely the best choice for that. Plus, look, the black is on the original anyway. Okay, so now let's cut that out. I'm just going to use some scissors because it's easier than going over to the paper trimmer for this. So I'm not even going to add a border. I tend to use that trick of using or having a little border around things when I fussy cut, but I want this to look like the real label. So I'm just going to cut along the line on all sides. And now we have this great little faux label. Boop. There it is. Okay. So now let's check all of our components again and see what else we need to do. Got the background. We've got our greeting. So cute. We are missing the splatter and we're missing this little banner. And of course, we're missing mounting it. So before I start adhering things down, let me just trim off a little bit on the sides and on the top so that when I do mount it to a card base, I'll be able to have that little bit of edge. And I believe that's an 1/8 of an inch. Yep, just about an 1/8 of an inch. So I need to cut off 1/4 of an inch on the side. So I'll do an 1/8, and then 1/4 up top. I don't want to cut the bottom because we got that so perfectly aligned. My gosh, Beth Ann says, I can't resist giving my new stamps a sniff. No, you're not the only one. Lydia does that. So Lydia on the Altenew team will also sniff her stamps. Okay, so this, oops, I'm already cutting before I'm ready. All right, so I've got to move over an 1/8 of an inch here. Nothing on the bottom edge. Do an 1/8 of an inch here. So just like that. And then 1/4 of an inch up top. So now we're bringing this to 4 inches. There we go. Okay. Now this is our new status update with our greeting. Okay. So next up, we are making that little banner strip. I should have left the paper trimmer out. Let's see how thick this is. Looks about a 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'll cut about a 1/2 inch strip, and then we'll cut those little banner ends. And we can, oh, and then the splatter. Can't forget the splatter. Okay, so we'll do that. And we'll put it all together. I think this has to be enamel dots, right? We're stepping things up. We're going to make it enamel dots. Okay, scoot this aside again, and let's do our 1/2 inch strip. And then I will get our scissors to cut the banner end. I don't know who I learned this trick from, probably Christina Werner, like a million years ago. But if you cut the center first, like that, now you just cut to that point. And that's an easy way to make sure that your banner is symmetrical. Just like that. Because for some reason, whenever you like freehand it, it always comes out looking weird. So this is just like a surefire way to get it the way you want it. Okay, put that there. All right, now we have to do this splatter for real. Okay, let me get some stuff out. Some stuff meaning some ink. Which ink do I want to use? No, those are cool grays. I want to use warm gray. So maybe Moon Rock or Lava Rock. Probably Lava Rock. Let's go with that. Move all this other stuff out of the way. I don't want to get splatter on all of these. Yeah, I think Lava Rock is better. Pauline says, are these lives not put on replay? They are on replay. So Pauline, where are you watching? Are you watching on YouTube or are you watching on Facebook? Because on YouTube, you've got to see what the new icon is. Why am I forgetting what that's called? Like the when you have a video, the still image that it shows. So it's the replay has like a different looking image. Oh my gosh, why can I don't know. This is after a full day with the students. I don't have half a brain, or I only have half a brain. But yeah, you'd have to find it there. For Facebook, there's like a tab. If you go scroll over at the top, there's like a bar menu, and you might have to hit like the arrow or something to get to the more. And then you'll be able to find the live section, and you hit that, and that'll go to all the live videos. You can also go, if you're in the Altenew fan group, you can search for the live videos there because they pretty much always get posted to that group. But yeah, on YouTube, I have to get back to you. But yeah, you're on, Pauline, you're on YouTube. Okay. Maybe someone else can help. Thumbnail picture, Sue, thank you. The thumbnail picture is updated. So it doesn't just say live. It's like what the project was. So they'll make a thumbnail based on the content of this video and update that thumbnail on YouTube. So maybe you're seeing the live restreams or the replays, but you're not recognizing that they're the live replays because the thumbnails are a little more in consistency with the previous video thumbnails. But does that make sense? Oh, Tiffany says they're only kept for a certain amount of time now on Facebook. That's annoying. Okay. All right, then I need to get my facts updated. All right, then someone else can help you. Or you could contact us at support@altenew.com, and that would be the best way to get all of the up-to-date information, because I didn't realize that they don't keep them on Facebook anymore. Not even in that live tab, Tiffany. Yeah, okay. All right, let's get this splatter happening, because I will forget again to do it. All right, we're doing the lava rock. So I'm just going to smush some lava rock right there. I'm going to grab an old paintbrush. I don't use my nice like watercolor Altenew brushes when I do ink splatter and stuff. You absolutely can. This ink will do nothing to damage your brushes, but I just have these out on my desk, these cheap brushes, and my watercolor brushes that I use, the Altenew ones for when I'm painting, are with my watercolor supplies. So don't worry that like this ink is going to do something to your brushes. It won't, but that's why I'm not using an Altenew brush. Okay, so I just spritz some water. This is our fine mister. I just keep some water in that. And we're keeping the splatter towards the right side. I think that was the right color. Okay, a little bit over here. That looks about right. Okay. I should have done that before I started talking so much because now that's wet. Well, we have to do the enamel dots on that strip. So hopefully by the time that's done, this will be dry. If this isn't dry yet, I will finish it and share it with you guys next week, like I usually do if I don't finish my project. Okay, let's put this ink away. Put my brush away, and let's get out the ridiculous stack of enamel dots. Still not organized by color. Just a big pile of enamel dots. My gem sparkles are stored this way too, just in piles. If we had more time, I think I would make sure that all of these colors matched the ones in this card. That would be fun. But because of time, I'm not going to do that. Plus, there's a lot of enamel dots to go through. But I like that it's kind of like randomish colors. I'll try to get similar colors that are here, but I might not put them in the same order. I don't know. We'll see. But let me just trim this off right about here so that this little banner matches. For anybody who is just tuning in, we're doing a copycat challenge where you're going to recreate one of your old projects. Don't recreate someone else's. I know we do that all the time. We all do it. But I want to make sure that you're doing one of your projects. It doesn't have to be the same type of project. Maybe you're taking an old card that you made and you're interpreting it as a scrapbook layout. Or maybe you're taking an art piece that you created and you're interpreting it as a card. That's all A-okay. I do want to find, if I can, my tropical forest, because that first, that's tropical forest, right? That's like parrot right there. No, it's going to take too long. You guys. One day, everything will be organized, and I'll tell you how much better my crafting life is for it. Wait, no, this is Forest Trail, but that's pretty close. I think we could go with that. And what's funny is I just told you I wasn't going to go color for color, and now what am I doing? Going color for color. That size, holy moly, you guys, that is the exact size. That's crazy. We are lucky. Okay, let's start. Is this the bottom or the top? That's the other side. I know there's no real top or bottom to the cardstock, but when I slice it in the paper trimmer, sometimes you get like a little lip, like a little edge on it, and I like when that edge faces the bottom instead of the top. Donna says, splatter is always fun, but crazy sometimes how large or small the splatters are, at least for you. So there is a little bit of controlling you can do based on how much, like if you're doing what I did, how much water. If you add more water, it's naturally going to form larger drops. And if you do less water, it's naturally going to be smaller. Also, if you like the tiny itty bitty splatter, you might be better off using an old toothbrush instead of a paintbrush. Because with the old toothbrush, you just run your finger along the bristles and then it'll do a very, very fine mist. You can also change how high or low you are to your project when you do that, and that will also change the sizes of the splatters. So there is some control that you can do when you're splattering. Okay. We have a lot in these like light tealish blue colors. I honestly don't think I'm going to finish in time because there's 8 minutes. And now I just want to find all of the exact colors. It's like a light, light pink. This one is from Martian Terrain. Okay, let's just put this right on top. I think I'm not spacing them out enough. But I also made my banner slightly smaller, so I guess they need to be closer together anyway. I am not pushing any of these down. So if I need to get any up, I'll just like pry my craft knife underneath or my fingernail and just scoot it over. Okay, next we need another one of these little like aqua colors. It looks like every other one is this color. Then we'll go to yellow. Love this in the summer afternoon. Susan, can you go over, please? I know. I would love to, but all of my muscles hurt from school right now, and I'm still not used to not being with my son. So I know I keep talking about it, but I was on maternity leave for over a year. So I have been with him every day, all the time. And now since starting school, it's so wild to like not be around him that right now I'm just like, I want to go, like I want a massage for my husband and I want to play with my son. That's what I'm looking forward to. So yeah, we might go over a minute or two, but I don't want to go over too much. All right, back over here. Then we get that one pop of like fuchsia. I definitely want to realign these. They're a little wiggly, but that's pretty close. Okay, this is dried petals. Look, never been touched, never been opened. So happy I'm using all of these enamel dots. Okay. Love it. Then lighter, then a darker one right next to it. Then I did poke a hole here, but it was yellow. Okay, Susan says she understands family is always first. Of course. Family first, crafting second. Priorities. All right, and then lighter. Are these two the same? Looks like they're both the same. I'll just do dark then light, just so that it's a little variety. But yeah, I could have done the same. There we go. All right, I will scoot them around so they're not so, but I do love how this looked. Okay, let's put these away. I'll get rid of the stacks. Just going back under my desk in a random stack. So here's something funny I did over the weekend. I have friends who live in Exeter, New Hampshire, and they have a UFO festival every year. And we went to that, and it was pretty funny. It was nice. Okay. Here is the background. I think it's dry. I think we're all good here. And my hello. And I have to decide if this is going to go, I think it'll go on top because I can have my greeting go on top, but then it's going to get in the way of those enamel dots. And then this just goes over the banner a little bit. Just like this. Okay. So since we're kind of at the last few minutes here, I'm going to leave it like this. Let me put them side by side and we'll go over everything today and what we did. Okay. So this is our copycat challenge. I would love for you to play along. You don't have to use Altenew products, but I love when you do. I want you to take an old project and find inspiration to recreate it in some way now. So that could be a style change. We didn't talk about that too. Let's say before your style was clean and simple, and now your style is the more layers, the merrier. Then do your old project in your new style. That's a fun way to interpret it. You can do the same project, but change up all the colors so it feels fresh in that way. You can do what I did here. I took the project, but I recreated it with new products. So this was before Altenew existed. And this is now all with Altenew products after the fact. So you can definitely see an obvious similarity, right? They're almost the same, but it's new, different products. So that's a way you can interpret it. Find a way to create an old project in a new way, and then please share it using hashtag Altenew Challenge Live, and that's how we'll be able to find it. So let me pop you back up so we could do some goodbyes. Hey, here we are. Yeah, so this was really fun. I wasn't sure which way I was going to go. I still have this card that's just shedding glitter everywhere. It's going to be stuck to me now for the next week, probably. There'll be glitter everywhere. But I am still thinking maybe if I have time this week, I will also recreate this one in a way. I really want to use some of our glitter papers and do some kind of cool effect with that and a negative cutout window. But I will also wrap up. I'll definitely be wrapping up this project that we started today, and I'll be sharing it with you next week. Remember, our new time slot for the challenge is now 4 p.m. Eastern time. It is bumped back an hour than it's been for the last 20 whatever challenges. So please make sure if you're setting an alarm to do that, you've got about a minute or two to share while we're still live. So get that opportunity to share the video right now. Come back here quickly and leave a message saying that you shared so that we can keep you in the running for that prize. And if you join us on this fun challenge using the hashtag Altenew Challenge Live, then you are in the running to win a $15 gift certificate to the Altenew store, who will be announced next week. If you missed the live stream, then catch the replay, and I will be finding out more about the Facebook replay, because I don't like that they would get rid of the live videos after the fact. We save them on YouTube. You can always get them on YouTube, but I know that some of you prefer to watch them through Facebook, and I want to make sure that they are easily accessible if possible. So hopefully we'll get that information to you. All right, now I'm off to go play with Logan, maybe lay down a little bit if he'll allow it, and maybe try a new show tonight after he goes to bed. I'll be looking to see if there are any other comments that I may have missed as we were going through today's live, and I can go back and respond to anything that maybe didn't get answered. Whew, that'll just about do it for me. We are at 5 o'clock now. Sorry, I'm not going to go overtime, but I am excited to finish up this card and share with you all next week. All right, let me get our little outro video ready, and I hope all of you have a wonderful and crafty day. It's lovely to be with you. Bye-bye.